All right, so I'm gonna teach a quick lesson on using graphing using intercepts, and this is actually kind of a neat topic, but you have to be hyper aware of a couple things. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at this equation: 2x plus 3y equals -12. And the first thing I look for are exponents. I don't have any exponents there, which is kind of not true because I do. I really have a 1. So it's 2x to the first plus 3y to the first equals -12. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say, well, what happens when x equals 0? Oops, that's not what I want to do. Sure, I'll just leave it like that. What happens when x equals 0? So if x equals 0, I get this equals -12. And I get 3y equals -12. I'm going to divide by 3. I'm going to divide by 3. And I get y equals -4. So one point is when x equals 0, y is -4. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, well, what happens when y equals 0? I end up with this. 3 times 0 equals what? And I get 2x equals a -12. And divide by 2. And I get x equals a -6. But that's true when y equals 0. And if you're wondering what that crazy sound is, it is the weather outside. It is frightful. It's raining very hard. -6, 0. And my first point was going to, I have it, 0, -4. Now, because these are both little ones, this ends up being a linear equation. Since I know it's a linear equation, I can just take a look at these 2 points, 0, -4, and -6, 0. And let's see what happens. If I put in 0, -4, and 6, 0, I end up with this. Now, if I go back, and it was 2x plus 3y equals -12. All right, so 2x plus 3y equals -12. Oops. I realized that I made a mistake. So 2x plus 3y equals -12. Let's see where my mistake was. Oh, here it is. This is supposed to be a -6. There we go. So, if you, in order to do this properly, you have to actually do it, graph it correctly. So when x equals 0, y ended up being -4. When y equals 0, x ended up being -6. And that's it. And that's how this works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a look at another one. So let's go back here. I have y equals x squared minus 4. So what's going to happen when x equals 0? If x equals 0, I just end up with y equals 0 squared minus 4. We get y equals a -4. So when x is 0, y equals a -4. Now, I'm hoping that what you're noticing is that I have that square there. So if I set y equals to 0, I end up with this. X squared minus 4 equals 0. Now, you can factor this. X plus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0. And then you say x equals -2 or x equals +2. And what I'm hoping you're going to see here is this. Since I now have -2, 0 is one of my intercepts, or +2, 0. And I also have 0, -4. So if I'm going to go to my Desmos again, so 0, -4. No, I should have written this down on a piece of paper. Here we go. I have 0, -4, and then -2 and +2, 0. All right. So if I go back, and I'm going to type into here when x is 0. Oh, no, that's funny. End up with the same thing. And then -2, 0. And then I also have a +2, 0. Now I'm going to get rid of this equation because this is no longer true. But if you take a look at what I have these 3 points. Now, you should start realizing that it was x squared minus 4. And take a look. There they are. If you wanted, and it'd probably be a good idea to get more values, you could plug in 1, and you get 1 squared is 1 minus 4. So when x is 1, y is negative 3. And if you want me to prove that, I will. When x is 1, y is negative 3. And so what I'm trying to show you is you can also just plug in more values once you know what your actual function is. Alright, moving along. I'm going to go back to my sketch pad. Now I have something like this, and this one looks a little bit worse, but really, what I'm hoping is you'll notice it's really just another quadratic. And you know that because of this x squared here. So when x equals 0, I'm going to get 9 times 0 squared plus 4y equals 36. This whole thing is going to turn into 0, so I get 4y equals 36. Divide by 4, get y equals 9. However, when y equals 0, so when x is 0, y is 9. But when y is 0, I end up with 9x squared plus 4 times 0 equals 36. I get 9x squared equals 36. Divide by 9. I get x squared equals 4. But remember, if I take the square root of both of these, I get plus or minus 2. So when x is when y is 0, I'm going to get a negative 2, 0, and I'm going to get a positive 2, 0. So now I have the values 0, 9, negative 2, 0, and positive 2, 0, which is kind of funny because I just had those same values anyway. And let's see, 9 squared plus 4y equals 36. So now, once again, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to get rid of a couple of these. Oops, didn't mean to get rid of that one because that one ended up staying. But, oh, goodness me, this might actually end up being, well, I guess I should have planned ahead. This might actually end up being, and I think it will be, plus 4y, I'm going to get rid of that, equals 36, so I'll make this into my 36. Ah, look at that. 9x squared plus 4y equals 36. Once again, I seem to have an error, so let's go back and troubleshoot. Plus 4y equals 36. I should have had 0, 9, 0... Oh, 0, 9. Let's see what I did. So that was my fault. That should have been 0, 9. And when I put in 0, 9, you can see there it is. There's my 0, 9. If you knew it's a parabola, you'd have 3 values that you could use. Alright. I'm going to do one last one. I'm hoping my time is not running short, although I feel like it probably is. And this one's going to be a little bit weird. Now, once again, I'm going to start off when x equals 0, but look what happens. I get y squared equals 16. Take the square root of both. Remember the plus or minus. Square root of 16, so I get y equals plus or minus 4. So I end up with 0, 4, or 0, negative 4, and that's going to be a little bit weird. You'll see why in a minute. When y equals 0, I get 4x equals 16. Divide by 4, x equals 4. So, and that's when y is 0. So I get 4, 0. Once again, I'm going to write these down. 4, 0, and then I get 0, 4, and 0, negative 4. And I'm going to try not to make any errors this time. 4x plus y squared equals 16. And let's see what happens when I graph this out on my Desmos. I'm going to get, let's see, I have 4, 0. I have 0, negative 4. And I also have 0, positive 4. And let's see, if you take a look, it kind of looks like this. You'll see. So it should follow this kind of pattern, which I hope you're thinking, wait a second, but that can't be right because that would imply that it's not a function, and that, my friend, is what I am telling you. It's not a function. Equals 16. Oh, bother. There we go. Oh, and there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, so it did work. So my point is, I was trying to do a quick lesson on graphing using intercepts. You can do it simply by setting x equals 0, find the y value, setting y equals 0, find the x value. Your textbook talks about symmetry. You can see that this is will reflect over the x-axis. All the parabolas that we had looked at before will reflect, will be symmetric in, this is symmetric in the y-axis. And so that's kind of it. All right, I hope this wasn't too crazy, and I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.